The Biden administration has informed the Congress of its intention to transfer $1 billion weapons to Israel, as confirmed by Congress that it will need to approve the transfer. This development is coming after the U.S. withheld shipments of certain ammunition to Israel. And now the president said that the U.S. would further curtail weapons shipments if Israel broadened its ground offensive to include civilian population centers in the southern Gaza city of Rafah. According to National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, he now affirms the continuity of sending military assistance, and the U.S. would see to Israel receiving the full amount provided in the supplemental budget. The package includes about $700 million for tank ammunition, $500 million in tactical vehicles, and $60 million in mortar rounds. And Global Affairs analyst Boye Akiyoko joins me via Zoom to discuss the latest updates in Israel-Hamas war. Good to have you join us.
Hi, good afternoon, Lagos.
So I want to sort of give context before I get your reaction. Last week, the U.S. said that it paused a shipment of bombs to Israel, and that was over concerns that civilians would be killed if used in densely populated areas. There was also a U.S. State Department report last week that found that some American-made weapons provided to Israel may have been used in breach of international law. And now the White House has told Congress it wants to send more, $1 billion in weapons to Israel. I just want to get your reactions to, this back and forth in terms of communication in weapons delivery to Israel.
Yes, good afternoon. Good afternoon once again. So it's obvious that the U.S. is just showing it to the whole world that they are still with Israel. The United States has a commitment to Israel to protect it from its adversaries. So the warning from last week by President Biden was just to let Israel know that they can pull the plugs at any point, especially when it's hurting civilians in Gaza. But the U.S. is still showing that they are committed to helping Israel to fight against its adversaries all around the Middle East. So I believe that's the message this is passing.
And how much of a political liability are these weapons transfer by the U.S. and the U.K. to Israel?
I think it's more of a liability if nothing is done. That's the way it is perceived because of the commitment the U.S. has had to Israel over the years. It's going to be more negative for the president to not show any kind of concern in sending weapons to Israel. But at the same time, they're trying. I believe the Biden administration is trying to balance it by saying, "Oh, we can warn Israel, but we still have to provide these arms and ammunition." So it's very political, and I believe they're trying to strike a balance.
Yeah. And the UN has continued to talk about a ceasefire. Do you see a glimmer of hope in the new the ceasefire agreement being put forward by Qatari and Egyptian mediators?
Yes, it looks very promising because we've seen the back and forth on the ceasefire, and I believe at some point they're going to reach a middle ground. Right now, it looks like sometimes there's still things that needs to be ironed out, but it's a good thing that this conversation is coming up because it means we are getting closer to having a ceasefire, other than when it didn't look like there was any light down the tunnel. So it's a good development, and I believe we'll get to a good point very soon.
And I want to get back to that package or that weapons delivery, one extra supplemental budget rather, to be delivered to or being requested by the White House. The new package was confirmed by, being confirmed by the U.S. media, must be approved by, Congress. Just judging by how the last aid bill went and all the controversy before it was eventually passed, do you see this scaling through easily?
Yes, I believe it will scale through. The Congress is controlled by Republicans, and they know that the support for Israel is important generally, but I know there's still going to be a lot of bickering because of politics, but I believe this will eventually scale through because they will not want to be seen as the ones preventing the U.S. from providing arms for Israel. So it will eventually scale through.
Thank you so much for your time, as always, Global Affairs analyst Boye Akiyoko.
Thank you for having me.